The last stat we're going to look at is interceptions. Now, interceptions is the category that I think is a record that will never be broken. Welcome to Just the Stats, the show that covers the NFL statistical leaders from the all-time greats to the current players leading the NFL. My name is Ernie, and I'm the host of this new podcast. This is the second episode, and if you're listening to this, hopefully you also listened to the first episode. This is a two-parter on the all-time leaders in various categories, leading from the quarterbacks all the way to the defense. I appreciate it if you listen to the first podcast and you came back and listened to the second one, because I am new at podcasting, and you can tell when you listen. But I hope to improve, just as I hope the Jaguars improved their season from last year. So let's look at the NFL leaders in receptions. That will be where we pick up from the previous episode. And the all-time leader in receptions is Jerry Rice with 1,549. He leads over second place Larry Fitzgerald, who has 1,000. Tony Gonzalez is third with 1,325. He's the leading tight end in receptions, with Jason Witten coming in fourth, right behind him with 1,325. Then you have Marvin Harrison, who's fifth with 1,102. Interestingly, you have at number 10, Reggie Wayne, 1,070. They were teammates with Peyton Manning, throwing them the ball every game. What a duo that was. The Jaguars had a duo that was really good, maybe not quite that caliber, but they were good, in Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith, who finished all-time career receptions with at number 29 and number 30. Keenan McCardell had 883 and Jimmy Smith had 862. Jimmy Smith's the all-time leader for the Jaguars in receptions and yards. With the active players, you have Travis Kelce, who went over 1,000 receptions last year. He's number 14 all-time. Hines Ward was the last player, well, not the last, but he's the player with 1,000 receptions exactly. He's number 15. So there's 15 players with 1,000 or more receptions. So coming up this year in active players, you've got DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, and Davante Adams, who should all pass 1,000 receptions. Davante Adams has got 957. So he only needs 43 more receptions to hit 1,000. DeAndre Hopkins has 984, so he only needs 16. And I mentioned Adams first because I expect him to get a lot more receptions this year than Hopkins does. And same with Keenan Allen. I think Davante Adams is going to pass both of those players on his way up over the 1,000 reception mark. Got to go back a little ways to get to the next couple of people, which is Stephon Diggs and Mike Evans. Stephon Diggs is number 32 with 857. I do not see him or Mike Evans, who has 836, making it to 1,000 receptions. The only players beyond Davante Adams that I think we will want to watch on a regular basis is Tyreek Hill, depending on how his attitude is coming back and playing this coming year. We'll see how that goes. He's got 798, so he still needs a couple of seasons of playing well and wanting to be on the field to get to 1,000 receptions. Beyond that, we're looking at somebody, Justin Jefferson or something, way back here on this list. So they're players we're going to have to be waiting years. So as far as coming up this year, we do have 4 players to watch as they move up the list, with Travis Kelce, Hopkins, Allen, and Adams. So that'll be something to watch for us. Going into the receiving touchdowns, that you have Jerry Rice leading that category with 197 touchdown receptions. Randy Moss is second with 156. Now, this is a category where, again, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, these records in the reception area, whether it's touchdowns, yards, or total receptions, I think they're all going to be broke, despite how far Jerry Rice pushed him out there to make it difficult. But I do think it's a possibility with the way the league is as far as passing goes. You have so many more receivers every year who make it to the 100 reception mark. And when if you add another game into the season, cuts down on how many years it's going to take a player to get up there in receptions or in touchdown receptions or in yards. If we add another game to the NFL season, you can expect to see receivers with 150 receptions in a season. That would be impressive. And we'll look at the leaders on a seasonal basis when we get to that podcast. But currently, Mike Evans and Davante Adams are number 9 and 10 all time in touchdown receptions. Mike Evans has 105 and Davante Adams has 103. So those two will be fighting it out for where they position themselves by the end of the season. I have a feeling, I don't know, it could go either way. We'll see. It'll be interesting to watch the two of them. Antonio Gates is the leader as far as tight ends go in touchdown receptions with 116. And Tony Gonzalez is right behind him with 111. They're number 7 and 8 on this list. So those are the two people that we'll see Evans and Adams passing on their way up toward number 1. Currently, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, they're both in 82 and 83. Travis Kelce's the leading tight end. He's number 37 with 77 touchdowns. So I don't even know if he'll make it to 100 by the end of his career. Again, making it to 100 is impressive. There's only 12 players that have made it to 100 receptions. Steve Largent, who played for Seattle, was the first one to make it to 100. He did it back in 1989. Now, he broke a record. Don Hudson almost made it. He had 99 touchdown receptions, but he finished his career in 1945. Played from 1935 to 1945. It took Steve Largent, who broke the record in 1989, so it took him 44 years before this record was broken. And then since then, it's been broken numerous times. Well, Jerry Rice set the record, and now people are trying to reach his record. Jerry Rice almost doubled the touchdown receptions of Steve Largent. That's incredible. Let's look at receiving yardage. And again, now this is Jerry Rice again, but by quite a margin. He really had an incredible career as far as yards go. Jerry Rice had 22,895 yards receiving, with Larry Fitzgerald again number 2, but at 17,492 yards. Over 5,000 yard lead by Jerry Rice. That's a huge lead. There's nobody really close right now as far as active players go. I mean, you got DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't know how many more years he has left. You have Mike Evans, who racks up 1,000 yards a season, but you got to have more than 1,000. He barely made 1,000 yards this year. You got to have a lot more yards. You got to do better than that. I mean, it's impressive to get 1,000 yards every year of your career, but you really need to be pushing more like 1,500 a year on an average, or something similar to that, 13 to 1,500, to really have a chance to move up the list in a manner that's going to get you up into the top 10. There's only, again, 12 players who have 14,000 or more yards. James Lofton has 14,004. He did that in 1993. So he had that record for a little while until Jerry Rice came along and beat him out. Steve Largent was up there. He had the record for a little bit until James Lofton passed him 4 years later. So active players, again, we'll be watching Hopkins, Evans, Travis Kelce, the same group, Davante Adams. Now, Davante Adams, he came in a year later than DeAndre Hopkins, but he is 1,000 yards behind him. So I don't think, unlike in receptions, I don't see Davante Adams just zipping by all these players. I think he can catch Travis Kelce. He's only 300 yards behind Travis Kelce, but I don't see him catching Mike Evans or DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins has 12,965, so he's almost ready to make it to the top 20. And again, this is a category where you have a lot of good receivers, but for whatever reason they get hurt. You know, Stephon Diggs was on a pace to rack up an incredible amount of yards, but he's just tailed off. Currently, and this way back, is Justin Jefferson. came in the league in 2020. He's already got over 7,000 yards, but that still leaves him quite a ways behind. So we'll see. In 5 years, he's got 7,000 yards. 10 years, that's not bad. 10 years, he's got 15,000 yards. He's right up there in 10 years. I mean, that's a good pace. Jerry Rice played for 20 seasons. So, I mean, in 10 years, he'd be Justin Jefferson if he's healthy and continues on his pace. He'd push the top 6 at that pace. So he has a chance. But other than that, you don't have a lot. We'll see how it goes over the years. It just takes so long on these career lists to see somebody who starts making it up into the top 10, 20, and so forth. Again, you had Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, number 9 and 10, separated by 35 yards in total yards. Both played. It's incredible, playing together and playing with Peyton Manning. Marvin Harrison had 14,580 yards. Reggie Wayne had 14,345. What a pair. Your defense, and you have to cover them, they're equally good. It's incredible. Probably Marvin Harrison would be considered better, but they were both really excellent players. Next category is yards from scrimmage. Now, this is a category which there are no players currently that are anywhere near the top 10. So this is a category I'm not sure that somebody's going to break the record. It's held by Jerry Rice, as usual. He's got 23,540, which obviously most of those came by receiving. Emmitt Smith is second. He's a running back with 21,579. He had over 3,000 receiving yards added to his rushing total, which was the all-time leading rusher. But then you have Walter Payton, Frank Gore, Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson, Barry Sanders, Marcus Allen. And then at number 9, you have Larry Fitzgerald with 17,560. He's the next wide receiver. So all those from 2 to 8 were running backs, and then you have Larry Fitzgerald. And then you have a slew of running backs again until you get to Terrell Davis. So primarily running backs on this list with some wide receivers. And again, like I mentioned, the leading active player is Derrick Henry with 13,074 yards, but he's ranked number 49, a long way from getting to the top 10. He needs 4,000 more yards, so it's several seasons. Same with DeAndre Hopkins is just right behind, less than 100 yards behind Derrick Henry with 12,986. And then you have Mike Evans as well. Mike Evans gets his usual 1,000 yards. He'll move up. He could break the top 40, but that's it. Same with Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill's the one who has fewer years who's on this list. He's got almost 12,000 yards. But after that, there's really nobody. Again, this is going to be a category where we're going to have to wait for years to see of all the players that are special right now, how many of them will stay healthy and can continue on long enough to move up this chart. But yards from scrimmage is one that could be very difficult for anybody playing today to break. So let's look at total points. I like this category for a couple of reasons, and it'll become more apparent when we get to the episode on single season leaders. But in total points in a career level, they're dominated by kickers. Adam Vinatieri is number 1 with 2,673. Now, obviously, kickers can play a lot of years, and so they accumulate quite a few points. What's interesting is when you look at a single season leaders, it's not necessarily a kicker who's at the top. It's often a running back. Sometimes, very rarely, if any, would it be a wide receiver. And we'll see that. George Blanda is number 7 on the list. He was the first one to break the 2,000 point level in his career at 2002. He did that way back in 1975, in fact. So he held that record for quite a while. Gary Anderson, probably the first one who passed him, but impressive. But he played quarterback, but you throw into most of his points were all by kicking. He had 9 rushing touchdowns in his career. That's the only difference. The first player on the list that's not a kicker is Jerry Rice, who's number 43, but he's only got 1,256 points. So quite a ways from any of these kickers. Now the kicker, the person on this list who had a chance to catch Adam Vinatieri, but won't probably, was Justin Tucker, who shot himself in the foot this offseason. Too bad for him. Justin Tucker is number 16 with 1,775 points. He had a chance at the pace he was going to break Adam Vinatieri's record by the early 20s, which seems a long ways away, but for a kicker who can play year after year, as long as they stay healthy, he had a good chance. He was probably the most likely candidate of the current batch. So now we're going to end up waiting for players beyond him. Don't know if Justin Tucker will even play again. So unfortunate for him, but I guess he put himself in situations that were not good for him. So then you have Nick Folk, but see, he's number 20, but he came into the league in 2007. I don't see he's got much time left. Greg Zuerlein, 1,400 points, but he came in the same year as Justin Tucker, but he's, well over 300 points behind him, almost 400 points behind Justin Tucker. So there's really nobody currently playing that is moving quickly up the list that would just jump out at you. So we'll see. Harrison Butker would be one, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they score a lot of points. He came in the league in 2017. He's almost got 1,000 points already. So that's a possibility. So moving from points scored, the offense, that type of thing, let's look at the defense. Let's look at the sack leaders. This is an interesting category because the NFL has an official leaders and an unofficial leaders listing. The official leaders started in 1982 when they started recording sacks. The unofficial list goes back to 1960, and those individuals that are on that list were made it on the list by just viewing old tape and watching the players and then recording their sacks. So you do see a little bit of a difference from one list to the next. Bruce Smith is still number 1 on both lists with 200 sacks. Reggie White's second with 198. The first difference is that on the official list, Kevin Green is third with 160. On the unofficial list, it's Deacon Jones with 173.5, and then Kevin Green with 160. I really think the unofficial leader list should be the list. Why not? I mean, if you viewed it on a tape, whether you sat and somebody recorded it live, you still saw it happen. But that's just the way they have it going right now. So that's the biggest difference. Now, officially, on the official leaders list, Von Miller is number 16 with 129.5. On the unofficial list, he's back at number 25. So he's somebody that can move up the list. I don't know how much farther he'll go. He came in the league in 2011, so he's had quite a few seasons. Same with Cameron Jordan, who's 8 behind him. He came in the league in 2011. Both good players. Justin Houston's another one. Current player who has a chance to make it and pass Bruce Smith possibly would be TJ Watt. He has 108. He came in the league in 2017, so he's 6 years after Von Miller, and he's not that far behind. So we'll see. You need double-digit sacks every year, and need a year like he's had where you get close to 20. You get a couple of seasons like that, and you can move up the list. And we'll see when we look at the seasonal leaders in sacks that even the greatest players did not have a lot of seasons where they had 20, but some of them did. So the two to watch right now that are the most likely to move up this list in quite a ways up the list is TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. Those would be the two I would be watching this year and every year for a while, as long as they stay healthy. The next category is tackles for loss. Now, this is another category that the league didn't even start collecting the numbers for until 1999. So it's going to be one of those things that the record's going to get broken over and over for a while until things settle down. And so who knows where the number is going to be ultimately in, say, in 5 years. But right now, Terrell Suggs has 202 tackles for loss. He leads the NFL. J.J. Watt had 195. Now, Calais Campbell, who signed on for one more season, at least, maybe probably one more season, he's third with 187 tackles for loss. It's possible. He needs 15 tackles for loss. I don't know if he'll get it to set the record or tie the record. He could pass J.J. Watt with 9 tackles for loss. So that's a possibility. Now, Von Miller is also on this list. He's number 6 with 171. A little better chance to catch Terrell Suggs. But the one that has probably even a better chance would be, again, T.J. Watt. He's number 26. He's got 126 tackles for loss. So we'll see. But this is a category when you look at the active leaders among the all-time leaders, you just see it's proliferated with players that are currently playing. So it'll be fascinating to watch who passes who among the active players as they shoot their way up trying to catch Terrell Suggs with his 202. Next, and the last stat we're going to look at is interceptions. Now, interceptions is the category that I think is a record that will never be broken. And that's because quarterbacks do not throw interceptions at the rate they did in the past. And we talked about this when we were talking about quarterbacks. I mean, if you had quarterbacks that threw the interception totals that they did in the past, they'd be benched. And you can just look at Jameis Winston for that. Quite an arm, exciting player to watch, but throws too many interceptions. So the interception leader, as far as that goes, is Paul Krause with 81. He set the record back in 1979 when he passed Emlyn Tunnel, who was number 2 with 79, who set the record in 1961. So since 1979, this has been a record 81. Rod Woodson would have been the closest one of somebody that's halfway current, and he didn't. He retired in 2003. He had 71 interceptions. Charles Woodson in 2015 ended his career with 65. When you look at current players, the first player that comes up on the list of active players in interception total is Harrison Smith with 37. He is tied for 104th in the NFL. There is nobody on the list. There's nobody. I don't see how anybody's going to catch that record. When you look at these players that are on the top of the list as far as active players, they came in the league in 2012. Tyrann Mathieu in 2013. Patrick Peterson in 2011. He's retired though, so you just don't see it. I mean, Justin Simmons has 32. He came in the league in 2016. So he's somebody that could move up this list of ways if he can continue on a pace. But see, he's still averaging 4 interceptions a season. That's just not going to get you up the list that quickly. So it's one of those categories that's interesting. And it's all because the NFL caters to the quarterbacks and the receivers. They make it more and more difficult for passes to be intercepted. Quarterbacks just aren't throwing the amount of interceptions they did. And when we looked at quarterbacks, we saw that there probably no one's going to catch Brett Favre with his 336 interceptions that he threw. Matthew Stafford's the closest one, but he's so far back at 188 that he'll never catch it. So that's another record that I just don't see anybody breaking, is these interception categories. So that covers the all-time great leaders. Next time we will be looking at single season records and give you a little tease on that. Who do you think holds the single season record for running for most points in a single season, a running back or a kicker? We'll find out in the next episode of Just the Stats. Thank you for listening, and feel free to contact me if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to talk about. We'll see you on the next episode of Just the Stats NFL.